Hello everyone, I am Swapna. I have working as a data solution lead and data scientist. So I would like to discuss about AI meets ML, how the transforming financial decisions by using neural network to what is the financial decision intelligent as it is used for risk assessment, for example, credit scoring and fraud detection, and investment strategies, some algorithms, earnings, tradings, etc. And we can forecast market trends and operational decisions, how the loan approvals can be given. And so by incorporating this AML with the neural networks, so it fast the decisions and pattern recognitions can be also happen, and it handles noisy and incomplete data and accurate predictions in the real time. So we'll go into deeper in the topic how we have been implemented and what can be the chances of results. About myself, so as I mentioned, I have been working as a data scientist and mostly in the banking and finance domains, whereas I had gone through multiple use cases and the solutions given, and which is going very well. And live the projects also has been happened with the solutions what proposed. What is the role of a neural network? This neural network is it's a human brain. It's this inspired with the neurons. It thinks as like a human brain. These are the capabilities it can handle for huge data sets, and it captures non-linear relationships also. And definitely, it's a real time how the human brain can think about real time processing the same thing. And there are some types of neural networks. This RNN. It's for time series predictions, and CNNs are basically it's for the chart patterns, and transformer models. It's a both sequential and complex data relationship, and it handles internally when we incorporate it with these decisions. So it will take a neural network into the considerations when we choose an option for it. And I would like to talk about some of the transformations the banking domain, how it has been getting used of this. For example, this AI driven risk assessment, so how this past processing the data and how it has been banks and financial companies AI to scan through huge amounts of data, right? So it's internally how the data is instantly the spots they can identify, how the customers can be defaulted. So these kind of risk assessment can be detectable, and anomaly detection, that is something which we can easily identify what is the false alarms. And though it is showing as a good, but there might be internally some algorithms which will trigger the positivity of anomaly detections. So investment strategies also, AI can read and learn from the past traits and consistently improve the strategies like trial and error. It is nothing but this helps investors and financial firms make a better decisions about the data and when they invest money, sometimes even beating human traders. Executive intelligence is strategic decision cycles. This helps company leaders make a smarter decisions fast and faster. This AI can predict trends, market changes, and customer behaviors. And so executive don't need to wait till weeks for analysis. They can act with the real-time data and for intelligence. So these are the major transformations we can consider in the bank. And the risk assessment engines, so if we go for this pyramid, so if I go for the real data time processing, this is consider structured and unstructured. Structured can be defined is a better way since it is a RDBMS and very structured, so those can be handled. But the unstructured and semi-structured data is a quite challenging. We with the standalone systems it's hard to do this. With this cloud and AI solutions it goes for the smooth processing. And AI guided transfer learnings is something, whatever the knowledge it is, take what it learned from the one area and it applies to another area. If for example somewhere the fraud has happened and it mentioned this kind of scenarios is happening, so you may get a chances of this default. So that kind of previous, it have a repository in that, and it will come into the in other location. It happened the same type of scenario. It mentioned that okay, if this is leading to your situation also. So this kind of guided transfer learnings also can be happened, and advanced prediction capabilities. If we go for the system doesn't just detect to what's happening now, it predicts the later dates how it can be happen, and what is the solutions for it. These extra features it predicts and give it has. So in summary, this handles any kind of data, and it's learned from different domains, not only from single bank domain, but it consider all the domains. And this predict future problems and keep improving over the time. It's not a one time results. And there are some components in AML risk. So dynamic risk scoring is something we can update risk profiles that adapt some threats. For example, this means that the AI systems keep updating a person's or company risk level as new data comes in. So it doesn't just use the old credit scores or reports. It constantly check new patterns and it applies. So, for example, if a customer who suddenly starts spending a lot of more money and few payment might be flagged as a higher risk. So that brings to the situation. And scenario simulations is this where the system imagine many what if the situations to see how bad things could happen, and it helps banks to plan in advanced mode safety measures. So the AI simulate a stock market crash, for example, rising interest rates or major economic slowdown. If then checks the bank's investment would perform each case, helping the bank plan and smarter strategies also, and explainable outputs. This is not something the black box it happens, it's giving the results. No, it explains the detailed information. For example, if the customer is denied for a loan, then it mentioned why it has been denied. The income is low, or it's too many recent credit inquiries, or late payment for the past 6 months. All this kind of situations it explains so that it's a justification. And if I take one of the example, this is the anomaly detection framework. So what here I can mention that there are behavioral biometrics. So behavioral biometrics is something AI watch how people interact with other their devices and confirm. So if it is accessing, if you are usually ask the question or type quickly, but somewhere you just became very slow, or else sometimes you are making urgency of something. So it identify this behaviorals, and if someone you are intense, something with the phone shake and when you are talking, so these kind of also it's suspect. And transactional stress is something is looking for the pattern, how you usually spending the behavior. We can say that if you usually shop in your city at one local store, suddenly you started spending high amount and uneven times and all. So then it identifies and triggers that okay, this is something is unusual. And cross channel activities, so it's the tracking behavior come across the behavior stays the same across phone apps, website, and devices. If you log from multiple devices from one geographical location, for example US, from different locations, different states at a time, so then it suspects why this has been happening, so something is fishy. And network analysis also it can be done. It finds the multiple accounts are making a similar purchase, transferring money to the same group. This might be a fraud ring. If two unrelated customers suddenly send money back and forth multiple times, it might be money laundering, right? So these kind of things it's identified. Basically, in anomaly detections, it's catch fraud early stage and reduce false alarms and protect users without slowing down the transactions. AI enhanced investment strategies is the something. It's a real reinforcement learning. Reinforcement learning, that's optimal solutions, that strategies, it keeps learning. It's keep learning and explain very well for us which is the better solutions and where it can be go for it in a better plan. And it learns from the previous models. We keep learning, and it's a mature that time. And NLP sentiment analysis, it's a text processing, how you type in the text, and is there any common type of words this which is giving sensing for something else broad or something. So just it will give a sensor from this your text whatever you are typing. So personalized portfolios, truly that in whatever the investment recommendations are aligned, this any tolerances are there or any financial objects behind this model portfolio. This reinforce the investment strategies and this algorithm that continuously learn from the market condition and transactions outcome. So, by combining all this machine learning with the human judgments, and these all delivers the sophisticated strategies and continuously available only the investment investors are net worth individuals, and which is they can get benefit out of this. And performance during market is something from the past 3 years, the performance is drastically increased. Now, every of the financial companies moving from traditional approach to the strategies, because instead of spending a lot of time for this analysis, data fetching, and individual vendors dealing all these, making them for long time processing, and they have to wait for the results for long time too. So now whoever is opting this 132% is increased from the 3 years, so expecting more in the upcoming years. And faster performance is something that the response time is market shifts is a fast. Every banking transactions or everything, so they wanted to make a decision very quick, and at the same time it has to be updated. So that response and eventually that client retentions will be good, because if they are satisfied with the service and it's leading to their solutions, then definitely the retentions will be high. So that is what the 65 to 70% as per the research. Executive this intelligent platforms is give a predictive analytics if forecast what is the business outcome and how it can be happen. So it predicts and give the solutions. And scenario planning is something that you can plan for whether this kind of scenario it fits, and how this modeling which feature can be used for this to execute into the real time. And decision support is something what are the strategies which you can take place of it, and every use case is different and it with respect to the financial domains, and that use cases they need to go for it and they can take a decisions. And performance tracking is something that they will have a measurable outcomes. We can see it rapid performance improvement by executing this process, and this predictive analytics also giving a better decision in the organization levels. If we wanted to implement this framework, so first we need to identify the use case, whether it belongs to our organization or our financial, or especially the use case which we are planning, because every problem statement will not fit into the AML. So first we need to understand what is the purpose of to move this ML and neural network. So why it has been, because that we need to identify first. Then after that the infrastructure preparation. So whether you wanted to go for cloud, if cloud, what else is there? Google Cloud and AWS, Azure, which platform you wanted to choose it, that you can decide. And most of the things the AML, all these services are merged with the cloud platforms. So we need not to go for separately. So we will have one bundle, and deployment strategy is also very quick with this. And pilot deployment as take samples, end-to-end flow you can develop with some sample set of data, and you can see the results. If you satisfied with the small use cases, then that pilot project can be deployed and monitor for some time. It is not something just we have deployed and cannot go for it. I just will monitor it and observe whether the patterns are tallying and expected outcomes are reaching out. And scaled implementation, you can go for once it is the pilots across successful, and you can follow the governance and monitoring and trading affected approaches, and then we can implement the approaches in the best way. So the most effective deployments is a real focus on technology and people and organization adoption. The skill management development is also required, and we need to have a clear communication of benefit or what exactly we are going to get benefit of these technologies. I would like to call out some key takeaways from this session. Say hybrid is a superior. Definitely, we cannot just simply go with the one adoption. We can combine AI and ML techniques and neural networks in between, than relying one single approach just to develop one kind of model. So that will not give it better results, and even we cannot depend on one application. And you can have a s- start with good data in the sense we have more noisy data, and identify what are the quality of data and what are the parameters can be used to take the decisions, and whether it passing the governance policies, for example this SSN and all we cannot use directly. The masking policies and all will be in place, and then we can go for it and investment for this data infrastructure before we are passing the inputs to the model. And human plus machine partnership is an important, definitely. One machine cannot implement and directly go for all the decisions all the time. The human intervention is required. We need to pass it judgments so that it will learn it from there and give the solutions and measure continuously. It's not something just implemented and done. So no, it's just you need to go for all the time how the regularly it's a data is feeding, and regular patterns also we need to feed it, and complexity scenarios also will have to measure continuously. So this financial institution successfully implemented these combinations, and they got an advantage of this operational efficiency and risk management capabilities. To begin with this AML journey, understand the requirement as capability assessments and high value use cases, and create a roadmap and infrastructure and go for its success. Thank you for giving this opportunity. Yeah, I would like to mention if any of your use cases or solutions is to be addressed, feel free to contact me. Thank you.